Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Experts. I am Dr. Jenelle Kim, and I am here with the incredible Mike Ciorrocco. I am very excited to have him on today. It is actually, I was able to have a conversation with him and one of his partners, Todd, and they were explaining to me this incredible concept, which I'm going to jump into after I tell you a little bit more about him, which is quite impressive. And it actually really sparked my own personal interest. It is something that I have to tell you, and I like that I'm leading up to it and not even telling you what it is yet, but it is something that a lot of people have been coming to me for my recommendations, and it's all about podcasting. So I don't want to keep you hanging for too long. And they have this incredible way about them and method that, quite frankly, I was not really aware of. And I think a lot of people are not, based on the number of questions I get. And that's what, aside from meeting you, sparked my interest. So that's one of the main purposes of being here today, so listen closely. Let me tell you a bit more about Mike Ciorrocco, though. Mike is a renowned entrepreneur, a best-selling author, performance coach, and host of That One podcast. He is the founder of That One Agency, a top-tier podcast booking, that's what I'm referring to, and media firm helping entrepreneurs and thought leaders grow their influence through strategic podcast placements, this is vital, and even more vital, content amplification. So what do you do with the podcast once you've done it? I think that's one of the most important things. Having appeared on over 2,000 podcasts, so you certainly know what you're doing. I like that, an expert, hence it's called The Experts. Ciorrocco is one of the most featured voices in the expert podcasting space. See, we're meant to be together on The Experts. His signature energy and message, turning setbacks into rocket fuel. I love that. Inspire audiences to expand beyond limits, elevate performance, and live with purpose. He's also the creator of That One Mastermind, a high-level community, which I am part of, focused on wealth creation, performance, and legacy. Beyond podcasting, he hosts live events, moderates panels, and speaks nationwide on mindset, media, and entrepreneurship. You started in the real estate and mortgage lending business. We're going to go all into that. And then you got yourself here, which is exactly where I'm going to begin. But before I do, one of the reasons Mike is here in Los Angeles, SoCal, which of course is my hometown-ish, I'm from San Diego, is because you just had an amazing event. That sounds, incredible. I can't wait to go to the next one. You showed me the videos and told me about the people, so you'll have to tell us a bit about that as well. So sure. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I'm humbled that still after 2,000 podcasts, I still am humbled that I get to come on and people want to listen to me. So thank you.
It's because, people aren't stupid. I'm just kidding. That's how we're going to start today. I've been sitting in traffic for hours, so we're going to be real direct. And so my point of saying that is you clearly have something special to give, and I saw that as well. Another thing that I saw is it took us a minute to connect. And when we did, I absolutely saw your good energy and your authenticity and your purpose. So I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Mike. Yeah. And so, okay, before we jump into everything that you do, I really love to understand where people come from, because I think that's one of the most important things. Yeah. So obviously real estate, mortgage lending, but way before that, where did you come from? What was your childhood like?
Yeah.
Why are you here right now?
Well, I came from a lot of brokenness, and I think a lot of people have. But my story is unique, just like every single person's story is unique. Yeah. Whether it's coming from a broken family, whether it's coming from abuse, or being around alcoholics and drug addicts and mental health issues and suicide, and you name it. Every story is unique, and that's why podcasting is so powerful. And I think most people don't give their story credit. So I came from a lot of brokenness. I don't remember my parents together. And I would do the every other weekend thing. And then we'd have child support and custody battles. And then you add step parents into the mix and their kids, step brothers and sisters, and then their families. And it can get chaotic, which mine did as well. And, I think when people get divorced, they should really consider the effect on the people around them instead of their ego and their pride.
Love that.
Which doesn't happen often. So mine didn't take that into consideration. And so I just came through all that. And while I was going through it, I noticed something, that all the people that were dealing with mental health issues or alcoholism or what have you, they always had a story to tell of why they were like that.
Yes.
And then they continued to perpetuate that life. And it was like a cycle. And as a kid at 8 years old, I was really observant, and to the point where they would resent me for saying this, but I would call them out. And I would say, wait a minute, you can't see that you're creating this life you're living?
May I say something, Mike? I was just going to ask you, and of course you're already saying it, how often did these people that you have in your mind right now turn around and first say, it's something that I did? How often do they point to something else?
Oh, for sure.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my grandmother, who's passed now, would say, oh, my parents were alcoholics and had a rough upbringing. This is why I'm like this.
Right.
And I saw the opposite side of that, of what you could do. I saw how, wait a minute, because of this, I didn't want to be like this. So I changed and went in a different direction, but they didn't see it that way.
Yes.
So at 8 years old, being observant, I would call them out on it. And they would be just like, resenting me. And I could tell, but I didn't get it as a kid why they were doing that. But I just always, made a vow to use these things to change the trajectory. And anybody that I was impacting and around who I would be impacting, anybody in my environment, I wanted to up-level them.
Yes.
I don't want to bring them down. So, early on that hit me that way. And so for, 30 years, I've been living off this concept of taking everything that comes your way. And if it's not the way you want it, store it in your tank instead of your trunk. Most people keep things in their trunk.
Yes.
And it weighs them down and slows them down.
Attachment. Mm-hmm.
So when I hit 40, I started to realize that I've been living this. I was like subconsciously living it and doing it, but I started to realize, wait a minute, I'm doing something special here. And I'm storing everything in my tank where I can convert it into fuel, rocket fuel, and become unstoppable to living the life of my dreams. And so I wrote a book about that. That's where the book came from. And
tell us the title, because I know I wanted to get to this. So
it's called Rocket Fuel, Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable.
Love that.
Yeah.
I knew that, but not everyone knew that.
Yeah. And so I wrote that book, and then that led to a lot of podcast appearances, stages, and building a brand. Yeah. And people can relate to it.
Yes. So. I absolutely love that. And I really appreciate the way that you create that visual. That's the truth. Because that really sticks to me too. We absorb it. My father, my greatest teacher, I come from this whole lineage. I feel, we know each other, Mike, but not, might not know every detail, but I come from a lineage of like ancient medicine and movement and mindset, right? Yeah. And I know you know this, but that's what's been passed down, are like the tools. And we all, it always comes down to like the same foundation and principle.
True.
And so we say the same things, that's the truth, but different paths of how we get there and different tools. And I'm really grateful and appreciative of you sharing it in that way. What I hear you saying is, so often, that's why I ask you, especially, I've certainly had those experiences in my life as well, which I don't know if I've ever actually shared that, of people in my family, a few steps away, but, having alcoholism or very close friends and addiction and, many, and not just to substance per se, but key number 3 in my book is called Stop Being Drunk on Your Own Thoughts.
Ooh, good one.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's one of the most ancient principles. Yeah. I'm glad I got a title or a name of this key. Huge. And it can be the most intoxicating and the most dangerous because we get blinded by ourselves and we can't see clearly. And when you point too far outwards and not look inwards, things become, you said, chaotic.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
So the tank, so rocket fuel. I absolutely love that. So what is a point do you feel? Obviously you said when you were 40, what got you into real estate and mortgage, and was that more
I was in, let's see, what was I doing before that? I was in home sales since I was 21 years old. I did it for 9 years. I would go into homes and test people's water and do water treatment.
Yes.
Offer water treatment and cut my teeth into sales, building rapport with people, handling objections, all this stuff. And it was like a pressure type situation, try to get an answer that night. And I hated it, but I did it. And I felt stuck. There's moments in my life where I felt stuck or trapped because I was making a certain amount of money at the time and couldn't wrap my head around it at that time, like doing something else to make that kind of money because I dropped out of college. Right. So when I got to college, I saw parties, girls, all this different things that I didn't see before. I didn't drink until I got out of high school. I was an athlete, kept my grades up.
What did you play? I have two boys.
I played football.
Okay.
Yeah. High school, I played football, wrestled, and baseball, but then I played football in college.
Okay.
Yeah. So I partied and went down that road, and then I would find myself telling myself, wait a minute, you're being just like what they were like. Wait a minute. But I felt like I trapped again. I couldn't get out of it. And so I met a guy, I was working in an Italian restaurant, and after I dropped out of college, and one of my regulars owned that water treatment business. And he would come in and talk to me all the time and start mentoring me from my tables. And eventually he said, hey, why don't you stop by the office sometime? You don't want to do restaurants the rest of your life. Right. And in my mind at the time, I had watched Cocktail, the Tom Cruise movie. Yeah. And I was like, man, I would like to do that, man. That'd be awesome. And but he talked me into coming to his office, and that's how I got into sales. And did that for 9 years. And then I saw friends of mine becoming real estate agents. Yes. And I was seeing like, wait a minute, you make how much per sale? Right. And I said, if they can, no offense to anybody, but I said, if they can do it, I can do it. Yeah. So I went and got my real estate license, and I did it for a year or two, and I became a top selling and listing agent pretty quickly with the work ethic that I developed and the sales skills that I developed. And that's how I got into real estate. Okay.
Okay. And then, so now you do this for about how many years? Like 17 or so?
Well, I did real estate
right?
itself for 2 years.
Okay.
And then another buddy I was sending my clients to for their mortgage needs. I was seeing what he was doing, and he didn't have to show people houses and drive all around. And I was like, I don't like driving people around. So I'm gonna come work for you, I told him. He said, no, you're not. No, you're my best referral partner. And I said, listen, I will make more money for you doing this because I'll be more passionate about it, and we'll crush it together. So I ended up going to a mortgage company and working, and I would drive an hour and a half each way. Now there's mortgage companies around me where I lived, but I had an in with my friend, right? And so I would drive an hour and a half each way, took a toll and sacrificed, my family life.
Yeah.
And I did that for, I don't know, 5 years until I eventually became a manager and started opening up my own branches to the point where we had branches from Philadelphia to Miami, hundreds of employees, lending $4 to $7 billion a year, and depending on the market, and felt that trap feeling again.
Right.
I was making millions and felt that trap feeling like, oh, I hate this.
Right.
I had a beautiful house on the water, 20-year marriage, 2 healthy kids, and I would come home miserable.
Right.
And I just realized, man, something's not right here, man. I was so conflicted because I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. And so I stayed in that, and for 20 years, I was in that.
Yeah. And I love that. Again, what I keep hearing you say, which is I too have experienced these things, and how fortunate and grateful we are to see that door of opportunity. I was raised also, and what's been passed down is, there's so many opportunities in life. Like some of us get one, some of us get a couple if we're lucky enough. But these opportunities can be so subtle, right, Mike? Like they come by, and if you're not aware, your eyes are not opened, you're not reflecting, guess what? It could pass you by and you'd never know.
Yeah, for sure.
And it gets comfortable. And that's okay. That's human. It's not okay or not okay, but that's natural, I should say. You're human, and it's hard to change.
Oh, and when you're going through it, you feel so alone. You feel like you're the only person who's ever experienced this.
Yes, and
especially
you take the leap of faith.
And I remember feeling alone in it, and nobody understands what I'm going through and all this, and then playing victim for a while and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you decide to pivot.
Yep.
Right? And how many times? That's already, I'm hearing 1, 2, 3 times already, right?
Yeah.
Similar in that way. And that's why I love always just getting to understand that aspect, because that I feel like is exactly why I understand why you're so good at what you do. To me, I also see that through this process, you learned human beings.
Yeah.
Right? And isn't it, I'm sure I feel like we're connected in this way that when you reflect back, speaking for you, maybe myself, both, it's like you're like, oh, that's why I walked through this. And that's the faith aspect as far as I'm concerned. That's why God, or, universal.
No, God.
It is God. You're right. That's exactly right.
It is what it is.
It is. Yes. God, the universe, I also say that's very Daoist, includes God.
Yeah,
God makes the universe. But that's why we walk through these things that we walk through. And if we don't have the faith to pivot when we feel stagnant is the ultimate culprit to everything.
Yeah.
Sickness, that's the truth, and imbalance, then we get stuck. And so now here you are. So now that one, podcasting. Yeah. How'd you get into podcasting?
Yeah, so
I'm sitting here. I understand.
While I was still in the mortgage business, I decided that, man, I need to figure this out. I can't live the rest of my life like this, and I need to wind this thing down. But while I'm doing that, I got to figure out my next move. And despite not knowing what that was, I just know I needed to move in a direction. So I started working on myself. I started analyzing who I am. Why am I here? Most people don't know that. They think that their body is who they are and their experiences are who they are. And I just started to realize that's not the case. And I need to figure out who am I and why was I put here? How can I live out to my true potential of why I was here? Because I wasn't okay sitting back, not knowing that or not acting upon that. So I got around some of the best mentors in the world from afar at first, immersing myself in their content, reading books, going to their events, meeting them, hanging around them. Before you know it, they started seeing things in me that I didn't even see in myself.
Yes.
And one in particular said, hey, you need to get known globally, man. And I was like, I've done the regional stuff. I've been on magazines and, television locally, and I see the benefit of it, but why globally?
Right.
And he said, you're thinking ego, and that's why you're resisting this right now. I'm talking about creating an attraction model for impact, because most people are in chase mode and you're in chase mode right now, he said. And if you stay in chase mode, you're never going to be fulfilled. Yes. You're never going to reach your potential. And I said, okay, well, I like that idea, but I don't know how to get known globally. And he said, well, you don't need to know how. You need to commit. Because if you knew the how and you weren't committed, you wouldn't do the stuff it takes. And you'd run into one roadblock or hurdle and you'd quit. And I said, okay, so I got to be committed. And he said, yeah, just commit. And the rest will take care of itself. And I said, all right, I'm all in. After that, he said, now go get on podcasts. And I said, which ones? He said, all of them. Okay. And that's why I went on so many, because I started to realize like he was right. I saw what he was doing. That's Grant Cardone, by the way. And I just saw how he was really good at building his brand out there. So why not listen to someone that's done it?
Absolutely.
And so I went to my assistant at the time, who's our ops manager at that one now. Her name's Kim. And I said, Kim, we need to get on podcasts every single day. Yep. We got to do this. She said, how? And I said, I don't know.
Just start.
We just got to do it.
I know.
And
one foot in front of the other.
Before you know it, we started seeing people in our network that had podcasts.
Yes.
And I had never paid attention to that before. And the thing I figured out was a formula. If you're taking notes, folks, you want to write this down. Okay.
That's why he's here.
Intention, which is committing. You're committing to something. You're setting an intention. Will direct your attention.
Yes.
And our attention, we only have so many units. I don't know how many units, but we only have so many attention units to spend at any one time. And there's trillions of things around you could be paying attention to. So when I set the intention and committed, my attention now was directed at podcasts.
Yes.
And I saw them everywhere. It's like the red car theory, right?
Right.
You think of a red car, now you see it all the time.
Yes.
And so that is what happens. Intention directs your attention. That creates, speaking of universe, that creates the universe you live in, right? You can cause and create your own universe by setting an intention. And so I would just hit people up and say, hey, let's light it up on your podcast. Let's go. Let's do it. And they would say yes. And then I started on, as a first guest on shows. I was on, women's shows talking about menopause and well, I wasn't. They were talking about perimenopause and menopause. And I was just talking about my story and lighting them up.
Totally.
And then months would go by, bigger shows would come along, live stages would come from it, speaking at retreats and masterminds for people, massive network expansion. And it just took off from there. And I was doing 7 to 10 podcasts a week for 5 years straight.
Right.
And that was 1,200 podcasts that I, did during that period. And it just changed everything for me.
Yeah, I love that. All the things I'm like, I have to acknowledge that, the way you just talked about how Grant Cardone, now we know, but your mentor, who obviously made a big impact in your life, he told you to commit. Well, I have to tell you, one of the most pivotal moments of my life when I took a huge leap of faith was my father, my greatest mentor, who's no longer here, coming up on 10 years. And he did the same thing. Like, he was truly a Daoist, right? And was one of the most, wise, powerful, compassionate. There's no words. And he did the same. I'll never forget that when I came to him, that's my story. Maybe I'll come on your or one of the things and tell you that. I don't want to take that time right now. But he said the same thing to me. He called me Munchkin. And Munchkin, the most important thing is it's your decision, because I can't do anything for you. You got to do it for yourself. Like, do you commit or not? And that was the word he used. Even when I got married, awesome. Here's what's really funny. I've been with my husband for 20 years as well. I love him. It's my Craigie. But I got to tell you, I'm not like your normal woman. I had a little cold feet. He said the same thing. Sure. It's not about love. It's about commitment. This word commit means you set your mind. You put your heart and your mind into something, and then you keep moving forward. It's your anchor. There's certain things in life that you just commit to, because then emotion doesn't keep pulling you in and out of it. Right. You just make up your mind. So I love that. I don't know why, it just really hit me when you said that, and that's key. Equals the work ethic, the consistency that you did. Yep. And I too have heard that before. Janelle, you keep going, and it's like, because I know we have to, and it's not easy. But I have a feeling, again, I think we could be similar in this way. I don't run around and be like, oh, this is really hard. This is really, in moments, it doesn't mean we don't feel it sometimes, right? Sure, or we have all the tools and practices, but then you're so grateful because you keep
who wants it easy anyway? Like, easy is boring if you think about it.
Well, but that's what keeps a lot of people going back to what you said before in those moments where it's difficult to change.
But they're bored.
Of course.
And boredom is where boredom is on an emotional scale is right in the middle of the emotional scale, to where the top of the emotional scale above boredom would be constructive, building. Right. And below that's destructive. Right. So bored people are very dangerous, first to themselves. Well, actually first to other people, because they'll do stuff to other people destructive before they'll do it to themselves. Sure. Because they lack courage. And I know that sounds funny, but when you're courageous and you're in that mode, you'll destroy yourself before other people. Right. So boredom is very dangerous. And so you need things to be hard. It forges you. Yes. Again, that's stagnation. Like in the human body, literally the way our physiology and anatomy, and we don't necessarily say that in Eastern medicine, but stagnation of the mind, body, and spirit literally is what makes us all sick. Yeah. Let it be known. Yes. That's it. So everything has to be movement and flow and reassessing and purifying and all of those things. Yep. So I love that. And then you said maybe you were Asian, like in a past life? Yeah, I'm sure I have some Asian in me. I don't know. At all. It doesn't even have to be Asian or not. I'm just joking. But you said something that when I have been asked wherever I am in the world to speak on manifestation, the way that we talk about it in Eastern Asian philosophy is where the mind goes, chi follows. Yeah. So like manifestation is not like, oh, I just really want a car. I want a
car. And then like God hears you and gives you a car. Like that's not how it works. So I'll show up and tell everyone like, sorry, that's not how it works. You really have to set your mind, have intention, and then your energy follows. So I love that you said that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now you've been on all these podcasts and now you decide, now I want to give everyone else that opportunity.
Yeah. So here's what happened. I found myself speaking in Vegas one time and Tucker Carlson, RFK Jr. were there. I found myself in the green room with them because we were speaking at the same event.
Probably with Emma Post. She was just on here.
Yeah. I don't remember Emma, but they were there. And I was just thinking to myself, I think she might have been there.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But I found myself, we were in a conversation, the three of us, and they were like talking to me like I was a peer. I was hearing things behind the scenes of like, the election was going on, campaign season, and I was hearing things behind the scenes that I didn't hear in the news.
Right.
And they were talking to me like I was a peer, and I was like, wow, this stuff works. I had like a hyper awareness of like this whole journey I had been on and the result. And I said, man, this works, but I can't keep this to myself.
Yeah.
I got to help. And at that time I had massive network expansion. Some of the top people on the planet in their space were around me, and they were coming to me saying, hey, I need access to your network. Can you connect me with so-and-so or somebody that does this? Or can you get me on this podcast? And of course, I was intentionally connecting people like crazy. It's one of my superpowers. But eventually I started realizing like you have an opportunity to solve a problem for somebody that is very powerful.
Yes.
They'll pay a lot of money for it.
Yes.
And so I started thinking, well, this is a business. And I got with Todd, who's my partner. He was booking me on shows at the time.
Yes.
And we talked and we said, hey, let's do something together. And we created that one agency. And very quickly it blew up because people realized, and even before I did, that we had an asset. Your network is an asset. And that asset can make you money.
Yes.
Right? And so people want access to that. So we started, that one agency, it started booking up. And then we had New York Times bestselling authors reaching out to us, people that were top in their space in real estate investing and entrepreneurship, billion-dollar CEOs, movie producers that have done $200 million in the box office, top longevity biohacking doctors and experts. And we just went out and what I did was I also reached out to top 1% podcasts and had those people on my show.
Yes.
And when I had them on my show, I would get to know them, build a relationship with them, and then they trusted us to vet guests for them.
Yes.
So, and then we served a lot of them, getting them on podcasts. And then it just expanded from there. And we're still, working on scaling it and optimizing it. And, we built amazing systems and process and team. And and we're on a journey now.
I love that. And it's so important. I mean, as you're saying this, because this has been a role, I won't even call it a job because I enjoy it so much that I told you, and I've said before, this is one of the only things that someone ever came to me, my incredible team, and said I needed to do this. And I said, no, I don't really say no because if opportunities like, all right, let's do it. I also don't like to scatter, but it's because I had so much happening at the time and I didn't know this path. I'm not afraid of it, but I don't want to scatter.
What, starting a podcast?
Yeah, that's right. And so anyways, that's another story, but then I began and it's the truth. It's just so incredibly interesting to be on this other side and to absorb this way and connect and all of those things. But then behind the scenes, that's where I was kind of started our conversation, that a lot of people now will come to me asking me, well, how do I get in? I will be working with you all because, we just met and I love that idea, of course, but I have my publicist and my manager and the whole team and the podcast and all the things, but if someone wants to just jump in, that's where I was like, oh, this is so interesting, Mike. I hadn't heard of this before, and so what you do, if you don't mind explaining this, because I think it's really beneficial to a lot of people, your system, because it's different than having even I have all these teams and I absolutely see the benefit of working, collaborating with you all. So tell us how it works.
Yeah. So first of all, people in business in general, when they tell people about their business, they do social media, they get on a podcast or whatever. They think after they've done it 5 times that everybody's heard of it and it's boring and they don't want to do it. It's too repetitive. I went on that many podcasts telling the same story thousands of times.
Yes.
Because I know that people do not remember or they haven't heard. There's hundreds of millions of people, billions of people on the planet. And so what I do is I wake up every single day pretending nobody's ever heard of me. No matter what level I get to, the follower count, all that stuff, views. Right. And every single morning, nobody's ever heard of me. Nobody's ever heard of what we do. So what I've done with this is I've told the story over and over again. I still go on podcasts. I still do my shows, 10 to 15 a week.
Yeah,
okay,
that's pretty good.
I told my wife the other day. I said, if somebody's only doing 1 or 2 podcasts a week, are they really a podcaster?
Yeah. Well, shoot.
and she's
gonna have to help me out
laughing
here.
at me. But because I realize that how powerful this is, and I just keep pumping them out.
Yeah.
And so people, I forget the question now.
No, it's okay.
How we work.
Yes.
How we work.
Yeah.
So
No, that was all such good advice. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Keep
so
tangenting.
I'm good at that.
Good,
People
I
come
like
to us and they want to get on shows, and there's PR firms out there that they can work with that take a retainer, but they don't guarantee. They say, oh, we'll pitch you to places and we'll see what we can get.
Yes.
We have the ability, because of what we built, and PR companies don't have this, to have personal relationships with thousands of shows. And so we guarantee we do 12, 25, or 50 show packages, and people pay whatever package they want. And we go out and we commit to that number of shows for them.
Yes.
And then when they come aboard, we have an onboarding call with our team, their team. We get to know them. We get to know their mission. And then we create an amazing press kit one sheet that packages, polishes, and positions them as a must-have on
Which,
shows.
by the way, all of this is vital information. Take it from me. I've been doing these things, building platform for a long time. This aspect, maybe about 5 years, which, after building the whole, but you can't always get this, or ever. Seriously, this is good advice. The fact that, I'm going to repeat, they place you on only podcasts. You pay for packages. So that is what an awesome way to enter, right? Like I said, from my role where I'm at this point in my career, life, all the things, having these teams are important, but it's still different.
Yeah.
And then not only do you do that, but all of these podcasts, how to package properly, and that's very important. And it's communication. Yep. And then you create the one sheet. Yeah. So it's like a all-in-one.
Yeah, and the one sheet has that one agency on it, our logo, so that when the hosts see that, they trust us.
Yeah. Huge.
And see, there's a common misconception that you have to have a PR, publicist, or what have you. And PR firms and publicists don't have access to what we have. So most of them are white labeling with us. People don't know this. I'm telling them now.
Yeah.
And
that's why you're here.
We fulfill for them. Yeah, we fulfill for them.
Yes.
But they'll put a markup on it.
Sure.
Right? So,
just like I'm in the business of manufacturing. That's exactly what we do. We make the product. Yeah. Then the brand buys it. They mark it up and sell it to you, which is, by the way, that's the way our world works. However, then you get lucky and you find the source.
Yeah, yes. So you find the source and then you go to the source. So, and then we accept that person, that client, and his family. And they become part of our network, and we go beyond podcasting. I look for ways to connect them, make their life easier, go further faster with their business or their mission. And we've created a network from that as well.
Yeah. Yes.
And so most of our clients are in that one network, which is a WhatsApp group where we all network every day.
One of the very few that I'm in. And that does, say something. There's a lot of people that have, groups. And Mike is absolutely one. After speaking with him, I was like, all right, let's do this. Yeah. And they are powerful. These groups, I'm on 3 that really, really mean a lot to me, right? And that's the truth because we have so much time.
Yeah.
It's very cool because it's connecting and networking with so many different people.
Yeah, because I was thinking I have all these clients and I'm like, I know these people myself and I do one-on-one introductions, but what if I could figure out a way to centralize this network, this community, so that I could get out of the way, just be the catalyst, and then they can network themselves.
Right.
And so we created a directory. The directory is amazing. We're separate from WhatsApp, where people can go search by industry and see who's in the group.
Right.
Connect with others, contact. And here's another thing. This is a powerful developer of what we've had. And I tell people how to do this all the time. It's called a 15 mini. And it's a speed networking call.
Yes.
So speed dating, right? Well, this is speed networking. So in the pandemic, when we were in lockdown, if you can just imagine a guy like me that loves people, loves connecting.
I hear you. I'm the same.
Being stuck in a pandemic lockdown, I was just like, man, I can't. This ain't happening.
So I'm going to call 500 people and have 15 minutes with them.
Well, what I did was I said, I'm going to have speed networking calls, and I'm going to find the most amazing people, whether they're friends of friends or what I call perfect strangers on Instagram. When I'm scrolling Instagram, I'm looking with intention.
And then that's how we met.
Yeah, exactly. And then we systematized it as well. So we do 50 to 60 reach outs per day. And then it led to, during the pandemic, 5 to 8, 15 minis a day with amazing people. And I would network with them and then bring them into the network. If they needed podcasting, they would, work with us. And that's how that's how we built the network, that one network. And now we do meetups all over the country. We shoot content with each other. We elevate other people. And that's spawned that one Quantum Expansion, which is like the inner circle of that one network, where we do 4 events per year. We have a membership.
That's the event.
And that's the event that you mentioned here in Beverly Hills. Yeah.
And the next one's in South Florida.
Yep.
In January.
Yep.
January what?
It's the last weekend of January.
Okay. Okay, there you go. And so what do you do here? You bring in some amazing people. You have panels.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan. I've been to a lot of events. I've spoken at a lot of events. I can't sit in a room for 3 days, 2 days, and just sit there and listen to people.
Right.
So when I created something, I looked at all the things that I've been to, and I said, I see the gaps. I want to create this so that I would like it.
Right.
So we do experiential things. We do
of
exercises around quantum and neuroscience. We bring in people that are members or some of the top in their space. For example, Dr. Nathan Bryan, who's the nitric oxide expert of the world probably. He's a member of our group. He's done $1 billion plus in sales. He comes in and he's a part of the group, so we don't have to bring necessarily a speaker in. He can contribute to the group himself.
Yes.
Dr. Patrick Porter from BrainTap, he created BrainTap. He was at the event. He's a member. And we went through and experienced his BrainTap, I don't know what you call it, process or what have you, and it blew me away. And then I have friends that, that have a network, like Larry Namer, the founder of the E-Channel, just popped by. And Jeremy Jackson from Baywatch popped by and did some breath work with us. And then we have the aesthetic has to be there.
Yes.
Like, I believe the aesthetic is like at the highest level of an emotional band. Like,
it's feng shui.
Feng shui. You go into it and your mind expands just being there.
Yeah.
And so we make sure that that's present at the events. And then we're going to do more things like experiential things like, who knows, skiing, skydiving. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Just throwing things out there, boating. I don't know.
Well, listen, literally I teach the 3 M's: mindset, movement, medicine.
Yeah.
That's what's been passed down for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what helps people absorb. It's the tools, if categorized in those ways. So by providing, that's why we see a lot of different, events, corporate, you name it, starting to utilize all of those aspects because it absorbs better for the human mind and body.
The other thing is that AI is coming and it's coming fast, evolving fast, and everybody's going to have to figure out how they can be AI proof.
Yeah.
Use AI, but be AI proof, and no AI is going to take over what we're doing. It's impossible.
Human connection.
You just can't. So that's why we created it. And I'm excited. I mean, a lot of times, I get these thoughts and visions in my head and I get really uncomfortable and uneasy and anxious. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do this now. Because I know when I have that, I'm doing it.
I totally get that.
So then I get the first thought is like, oh man, like this event just finished yesterday and we're already planning the next one last week.
I love it.
Right. And I'm like, oh, we got to figure this out now. And it's going to be a different format. And I don't know if I can replicate the bar that we set. We set the bar very high.
You're right, because it's going to be higher, Mike.
So it's like, So anyway, I'm human too. I go through all these same things, but I just know every day I tell myself, keep going, dude. Just keep going, man. I don't care how dark it gets, how hard it gets. If you keep going, it always gets a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm just like, keep going, just keep going.
Yeah, keep going and keep staying connected with that intention.
Yep.
That's absolutely. I literally just had this conversation on my 4-hour drive up here.
Yeah,
so that was good.
4 hours.
And just
thank
a little.
You very much for
my
going
gosh,
through
are
that.
you kidding? Okay, of course. And it reminded me, about feeling. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that feeling. You called it that feeling, so I'll call it that. Before, like when you're ready to move on to something, and I just want to say something that always sticks with me. My sons asked me. It was my Vince, but he was much younger, and he said, "Mommy, do you ever get nervous? Like when I go up on stage and there's thousands of people, or whatever it is." And I looked at him. And I said, "Yes, of course I do, honey. But do you know why you get nervous?" He said, "Why, Mom?" I said, "It's because you care."
Yeah.
And sure, we have more experience and habit, and then you get, you can become more comfortable or natural, but you're always a little bit nervous. It's because you care, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
And we feel that, and we're grateful.
Yeah.
And that conversation flew by, of course, because of what I do by nature is that we have to take care of all those aspects, and I know that you do. So just real quick before we leave each other for this moment, what types of things do you do that, nourish yourself?
Well, I pray every day, all day. My faith, I work on my faith, building it all the time. And then, I read the Bible a lot and study neuroscience and quantum. And then I take care of my bodies, with diet, nutrition, working out, optimizing peptides, you name it. I check my blood work regularly.
Very important.
And then I surround myself with the right people. So I have a prayer that I say every day. And that's, Lord, give me the thoughts to have, the words to speak, the actions to take, and the people to surround myself with, which is probably just as important than anything.
Yes.
To serve the mission you have for me and to glorify you. Because I don't want credit for anything that I do or accomplish. And I don't, if you don't want the pressure that comes along with things, then you can't want the glory for the accomplishments. You have to lay it all on a higher power. And that's what I do every day. And that really helps. And then, of course, I lean on my wife. I mean, she's pretty much responsible for my success. I mean, she holds me accountable, calls me out on my BS, and is there for me. And, anytime we're going through tough times, she's always like, we'll figure it out.
Of course. I love that. I knew I wanted to ask you that before we left. So that time seriously flew by. Okay, but I have a feeling we will be spending much more time together in many different ways. And I'm really grateful that you reached out to me. And I'm grateful for your time here today. And I mean, these are really, there's a lot of takeaways here. So thank you so much for being
here. My pleasure. Thanks.
Where can everyone find you, though? So we know you have an event at the end of January. Let it be known.
Yeah, the end of January at South Florida. That one, Quantum, the number one, quantum.com is the website. You can check out the Quantum group. And or on Instagram, you can just DM me on Instagram at Mikey Ciorrocco, and you can find out about the podcast agency and everything we're doing. You can DM me anytime. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here on The Experts. I wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for being here with me today. I absolutely love and am inspired by the amazing people that I have on The Experts. And the point of The Experts is I know that we live in a world right now, which, by the way, I'm so grateful for, that we have so much interesting information, so many tools that we can utilize. But unlike 20 years ago, we now live in a time where it can be very overwhelming, from beauty to, thought leadership, as I call the 3 M's: medicine, movement, and mindset, all of those categories. So it is my intention that I create a place that you can come to find serious takeaways, insight, perspective, inspiring stories that can help us to get to the next place in our life by connecting in that way. One of the things I devote my life to, as I come from 9 generations of masters and teachers, known as Sabu. That's the Korean word. I'm starting a whole thing with that. But one of the things that we teach are, like I said, mindset, movement, and medicine. And I do offer courses and now products in the form of longevity potions, some of my favorites that I've done for brands carrying Sephora, Credo, Ulta, you name it. Now I have some available for all of you. So as a thank you, I would like to offer you a promo code, DJK, like Dr. Jenelle Kim, DJK15, that if you go to my website, JenelleKim.com, you can have 15% off any of the courses and products. And yeah, definitely reach out to me if you have any questions, thoughts. I am here for you. I'm grateful for you. And it is my ultimate wish just to continue as my teachers and ancestors and the people who came before me did, just sharing as much as I possibly can of all that's been passed down to, have us live more fulfilled lives and appreciate true longevity.